Hi, my name's Jayden Greenwell-Barnden. I'm studying a PhD in psychology, and my particular area is human factors and cognitive or applied psychology. Well, my first degree was in law and history, and the particular part of law I did was criminology. It was called Law and Society. And although I enjoyed studying law, I didn't see myself as a lawyer. I spent time in courtrooms and following lawyers, and I really didn't see myself doing that side of the job. But I really enjoyed the criminology and sociology aspects, and that brought me back to a previous interest in psychology. So I then completed a degree in psychology and my honours, and am now completing my PhD. Well, I've always been interested in academia, even before I really knew what it was. I've always enjoyed reading and researching and asking big questions, even as a child. So a PhD allows you to be curious and to create new knowledge through that process. So it's really a reflection of someone's perseverance and curiosity is in that title doctor, and that's really what drove me to do a PhD, because I really enjoy asking big questions and creating sort of new understandings and knowledge. For me, the working relationship was the most important thing, rather than the project itself. So I selected my supervisor based on someone I thought I could work with well, someone who's supportive and friendly and who I can have confidence in. So I created a short list of 3 or 4 academics who I'd met through my undergrad, who were lecturers. These were people who had been really good at giving feedback in assignments or really patient in answering my questions in class and were really friendly, which was a really key thing. And from them, I interviewed these few people and I decided on my supervisor based on these qualities, which were important to me, as well as the project he had going and the grant funding behind that project. Having to design and start a study before you really know what you're doing was a really big challenge. You have to plan out a 3-phase research project, and where you think that's going to go in the beginning is usually not where it ends up, but you kind of have to jump in the deep end and start before you really know what you're studying or how it's going to turn out, and that's very challenging. So being able to adapt and be flexible to new statistics approaches, different opinions from my supervisors, and difficulties with the tasks and designing them, and even recruiting participants were all small challenges, but really the flexibility to deal with those was probably the main thing that I learnt from doing a PhD. That no matter how ambitious you are with what you think you can do, you can always do more, learn more, speak to more people, acquire more skills than you think is ever possible in 4 years. Being open to all opportunities that come your way and really making the most of this time, this last time as a student, is probably the most important thing I've learnt, because I've done way more than I ever expected at the beginning of my PhD, just by saying yes to all these opportunities. Being careful in piloting the tasks, making sure that things work the way you expect them to, and not just looking at the output and thinking it looks right, but actually trying to break the task and see where things can go wrong, because if they can go wrong, they will. And speaking to other people who have used these tasks before to find out where things might go wrong is really important, because it's nothing worse than finding those things out middle way through using one of these tasks. That can be very frustrating. So yeah, trying to find the weaknesses in your design early on and planning for all sorts of contingencies. The power going out, the internet breaking during testing, participants not showing up. Just having an idea of what to do in those sort of situations from the get-go is the most important thing. It might sound cliche, but learning to meditate and breathing exercises I've found very helpful. Taking a step back, both mentally and physically. So I enjoy sitting down by the river and watching the swans. That can be very relaxing and slows things down. It's very, very helpful. And in really stressful times, I find free writing, so just putting down all my thoughts on paper and coming back to them later on to make sense of them rather than ruminating and getting worked up in the moment, that can really help. Speak to other students who are doing their PhD. Often your tutors will be doing their PhD while teaching, so ask their experiences. That can be very helpful. I still do that throughout my studies. I would always speak to someone who was one step above in the study or the career rung and find things out from them, because you'll always get insight and experiences that you'll never find from reading official entrance requirements or documents like that. So yeah, making connections and speaking to people, that can really be helpful. Finding a supervisor you can work with is probably the best advice I've got from a senior student. So you can learn to love a project, but if you don't enjoy working with the people in your team, that can be much more challenging to overcome. Absolutely, I would do my PhD again. I've found the experience just wonderful. All the skills that I got out of it, I would never have imagined. So not just technical skills and statistics, but things like teaching and mentoring and being part of the school community in terms of committees and volunteering. My communication skills in public speaking and writing, and the variety of events that I've done in those have just been fantastic. So the research aside, which I really enjoyed, I'd say all the skills and experiences I got out of it was just the best. So in 5 years, I might have completed a postdoctoral research position. So at that time, I would be looking to become an early career researcher and hopefully lecturing or teaching, as well as working in a lab on my own research, supervising students, and pursuing my own research goals.